Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. Today we're entering a space that's soft, quiet, but louder than most ever realize. This is for the girl who feels everything so deeply it echoes inside her. But she'll never say it first. Not "I love you," not "I miss you," not even "I'm hurting." Why? Not because she's cold, but because her love is layered, slow, safe, sacred. This is not about playing hard to get. It's about being real in a world that often rewards performance over authenticity. As the philosopher Søren Kierkegaard once said, "The deepest form of despair is to choose to be someone else rather than yourself." She chooses to be real, even if it means staying quiet, even if it means loving from a distance. In a world of quick reactions and quicker replies, where feelings come with filters and confessions happen on Instagram stories, there are still hearts that move like poetry, not reels. She's the kind who watches your stories but won't send the first text. She remembers small details, laughs at your old jokes and checks if you're online. But silently, she lives where vulnerability meets fear, where love is real, but words feel too dangerous. And behind that soft smile, storms of emotion. Rumi once said, "Don't get lost in your pain. Know that one day your pain will become your cure." That's her, a paradox, a heart healer who hides her own wounds. Today I want to take you on a journey into her world, through 7 secret truths you've probably never noticed, but always felt. If you've ever held back a message just to protect your pride, if you've ever cried silently to a reel that felt too real, if you've ever loved someone so much it made you quiet, this is for you. And maybe this is you. We'll talk about emotional timing, silent attachment, micro-expressions, and even how social media makes everything louder for people who are already overwhelmed inside. And yes, we'll sprinkle in thoughts from minds like Carl Jung, bell hooks, and a little Taylor Swift too, because feelings deserve depth and glitter. By the end, you'll not only understand her, but you'll also see why silence is sometimes the loudest kind of love. This isn't just content, it's comfort. So stay with me, take a breath, and let's explore the beauty of what's unsaid and why it matters. Let's go start. Number 1, she doesn't say it first. Because her love is not a transaction, it's a devotion. In a world where love has often become a currency, measured in who texts first, who replies faster, who cares more visibly, she remains different. Her heart doesn't move by rules. Her love is not an equation. It's a quiet, sacred devotion. And for her, that means she doesn't say it first. She's not holding back to win a game. She's holding space, sacred space. She believes that love, real love, is not something to be bargained for. It's something to be offered softly and steadily like candlelight in a storm. She doesn't ask, "Will you give me the same in return?" She asks, "Will you feel this without me having to perform it?" She has watched the world rush through feelings like it rushes through stories on a screen. Seen, left on, read, no reply. Digital rituals that now define emotional worth. But she can't love like that. She can't pour her soul into a message she's not sure will be received with care. Not because she doesn't feel, but because she feels too much. And so she waits, not out of fear, not out of arrogance, but out of reverence. She understands that her love is not light. It's not for convenience. It's not meant for instant validation or short-term thrill. Her love is heavy. It stays. It roots itself. It chooses you again and again, even when it's quiet. And that kind of love, she believes, should not be the first to speak. Not because it's weak, but because it's wise. As the poet David Whyte once said, "The opposite of love is not hate, its power. And in a world where saying "I love you" first is often seen as surrender, she chooses to keep her power quietly, not to control, but to preserve the sacredness of what she feels. You'll know she loves you in the pauses, in the way she listens when you don't expect her to, in the care she gives without claiming credit, in how she notices the things you didn't know were visible. She loves like a river, not loud but unshakably present. And while others rush to speak first, to claim, to confess, she waits for love to rise naturally, to be mutual, to feel safe, because when she finally does say it, it won't be impulsive. It'll be true, it'll be earned, it'll be complete. So no, she won't say it first, not because her love is small, but because her love is sacred. Number 2. She has mastered the art of emotional invisibility. She walks into rooms without being noticed, not because she lacks presence, but because she's learned how to fold herself small, quiet, safe. She's the kind of girl who feels everything, every silence, every shift in energy, and yet says almost nothing about it. Over the years, she has mastered the silent art of emotional invisibility. You see, she wasn't always this way. There was a time she used to speak up. She used to ask questions like, "Do you love me?" or "Did I do something wrong?" She used to express what she felt in raw, unfiltered, trembling words. But too many times, her honesty was met with silence, or worse, discomfort. She was called too emotional, too sensitive, too intense. So she learned to retreat. Not from love, but from exposure. Not from people, but from being misunderstood. Now she smiles gently even when her heart is aching. She says, "I'm fine," with a calm voice that hides the storm beneath. She watches people talk about vulnerability, but rarely shows her own. She is the kind of person who'll cry in the shower and come out laughing, because that's how she survived. By blending in, she hides her hurt in aesthetics, in curated feeds and poetic captions, in late-night songs and whispered voice notes she deletes before sending. Her digital world might look peaceful, even joyful, but her soul knows how to scream in silence. Her emotional invisibility is not a lie. It's a form of self-defense. It's how she avoids being too much for people who only understand surface-level connections. In a world where people scroll past real feelings, she's chosen to keep hers hidden, not because they're not there, but because they're too sacred to be mishandled. And yet, she hopes. Every now and then, she hopes someone might look deeper, that someone might say, "I know you said you're okay, but how are you really?" That someone might sit beside her long enough to hear the words she doesn't speak. Because under all that quiet is a soul that craves to be seen, not for the image, but for the essence, not for the story she posts, but for the story she carries in her eyes. So no, she may not express her emotions the way others do. But don't mistake her quiet for absence. She's fully there, heart open, just hidden. Her invisibility is not emptiness, it's depth, and only those who know how to slow down will ever truly see her. Number 3. She speaks through energy, not always through words. You may never hear her say, "I'm hurting." You may not get the late-night confessions or emotional breakdowns typed out in long paragraphs. But if you're paying attention, really paying attention, you'll feel everything she isn't saying. Because she speaks in a different language. One that isn't made of words, but of energy. She communicates in small things, in the way her voice slightly shifts when something's off, in the longer pause before she replies, in the soft way she says, "I'm okay," that somehow feels like a plea for someone to look closer. She's the kind of girl who feels more than she can explain. Her heart picks up the signals others miss. A shaky breath, a delayed smile, a silence that wasn't there before. She's tuned into frequency, not volume. She notices how something is said, not just what is said, and in the same way, that's how she speaks too. Through subtle changes, through presence, through energy. She might not say, "I miss you," but she'll stay online a little longer, just hoping you'll say something first. She may not ask, "Are you okay?" but she'll check in with something small. A meme, a random question, a song that holds more meaning than it seems. Because for her, energy never lies. And she hopes you'll feel hers. She's emotionally fluent, even when she's verbally silent. You just have to listen differently. Words, after all, have betrayed her before. She's said too much to people who heard too little. She's poured her heart out to those who weren't ready to hold it. So now she's careful, not closed, just cautious. She believes if someone truly wants to understand her, they won't wait for a dramatic monologue. They'll learn her energy. They'll sense the shift. They'll lean in and notice the quiet ache in her smile. Because some hearts don't speak loudly. They hum, and hers hums like a song only few can hear. It's easy to miss her language if you're in a hurry. But if you slow down, if you look between the texts, beyond the emojis, beneath the perfectly timed ha-ha, you'll find her. She's always speaking, always feeling, always sending messages, just not the kind that buzz. So no, she doesn't always use words, but the right person will still hear her, not through volume, but through vibration. And in that space, love becomes something more than spoken. It becomes felt. Number 4, she doesn't initiate, not out of pride, but out of protection. People often misread her silence. They think she's cold, distant, playing hard to get. But they don't see what came before the silence, the bruises, the rejections, the moments when she dared to reach out first and was met with absence. She doesn't stay quiet because she wants power. She stays quiet because she's protecting the most vulnerable part of herself, her heart. You see, she's been the one to go first before. She's typed the long messages, she's broken the silence. She's shown up when it was inconvenient, and she's loved, openly, desperately, beautifully, only to be left wondering if it was too much. So she learned. Not to stop loving, but to guard it. To stop offering her softness to those who weren't ready for it. To stop opening doors that only led her into cold rooms. Now, when she feels something, she doesn't rush to share it. Not because the feeling isn't real, but because she wants to know. Is it safe to say this? Will you hold it gently? Or will you walk away once I'm exposed? In her world, initiating isn't romantic anymore. It's risky. And that risk has come with too many heartbreaks. So instead of saying, "I miss you," she waits. Instead of texting first, she thinks, if I matter, they'll reach out. Instead of asking, "Are we okay?" she tells herself, if I have to ask, maybe we're not. It's not that she's playing games. It's that she's exhausted from always being the one to go first, to crack open her chest and hope someone else meets her halfway. And when they didn't, she picked up the pieces quietly with a smile, and no one noticed she was bleeding. She doesn't need grand gestures, she just needs safety. Someone who sees that her silence isn't a wall, it's a test, a quiet, sacred test. Will you come closer even when I don't ask you to? Will you choose me even when I don't make it easy? Because if she initiates now, it means something deeper than most will ever understand. It means she feels safe. It means she believes this love is different. It means she's willing to try again. So, until then, don't confuse her stillness for indifference. It's not that she doesn't want to talk. It's that she's waiting for a sign that this time it won't hurt. She doesn't stay quiet to protect her ego. She stays quiet to protect her soul. Number 5. She writes full conversations in her head that never get sent. There's a whole world living inside her. A world made of unsent messages. Conversations she's played out 100 times. And things she wishes she could say, but doesn't. Every night before she falls asleep, her mind writes dialogue like poetry. I miss you. Do you miss me too? I wish you knew how much I think about you. I'm not angry, I'm just hurt. But none of these words ever leave her lips or her screen. She types, then pauses, backspaces, then sighs. Not because the feeling isn't real, but because the fear is. You see, she's been there before. Sent the long text, hit send with shaking fingers, waited for a reply that didn't come. Or worse, came cold. She's had her honesty misunderstood, her vulnerability called too much, her care mistaken for neediness. And so now she keeps the conversations inside, not because she's manipulative, but because she's careful. Not because she doesn't want to connect, but because she's learned to survive by staying quiet. In her head, she tells you everything. She explains why she pulled away. She apologizes for things you didn't even notice. She forgives you for what you didn't know you did. And sometimes she says goodbye, just in case she never gets the chance to in real life. It's all there, a private script, a sacred monologue. 1,000 little truths buried under layers of caution. And still, she hopes that maybe one day someone will say what she's always wanted to hear, without her having to beg for it. That maybe someone will ask, "What haven't you said?" and be patient enough to hear the answer. Because the truth is, she doesn't need a lot. Just safety, just someone who won't rush past the silence. Someone who won't read her quietness as disinterest, but as depth. She's the kind of girl who loves silently but entirely, who'll write you a message at 2:17 a.m., read it 20 times, feel every word, and never hit send. Because for her, sending it means exposure, means risk, means handing her heart to someone who might not hold it with care. So, she whispers it to herself instead. She sends it to the universe. She saves it in drafts no one will ever read. And then, she smiles the next time you talk, like none of it ever existed. But just know, behind that smile lives a whole conversation. And behind that silence, there's a love story you never even knew was being written. Number 6. Her love is a slow burn, not a spark, but a flame that refuses to die. In a world addicted to instant chemistry and quick replies, she is the slow burn. She's not the firework that explodes in seconds and disappears just as fast. She's the candle in the dark, the one that stays. Quietly, steadily, constantly. When she loves, it's not impulsive, it's not loud, it doesn't demand attention, it builds, like a sunrise, like a song that grows more haunting the longer you listen. You might not notice it at first. She won't flood your messages or overwhelm you with affection. But then, one day, you'll realize she's been there all along, listening, watching, feeling, loving you in ways so gentle you almost missed it. Because for her, love isn't something to rush into, it's something to grow into. And once she chooses you, she's all in, even if she doesn't say it first. Even if you never see her love coming, it's already there, rooted in her. She won't fall fast, but when she falls, it's deep. She notices the way your voice softens when you talk about something you care about. She remembers your favorite snack, the time you said you hated your smile, the joke you thought no one heard. She holds on to every detail, not because she's obsessed, but because she's present. Her love is built on observation, on trust, on the slow unfolding of the soul. And that takes time, and patience, and silence. She's not here to chase or impress. She's here to understand, to hold space, to create a kind of love that doesn't burn out when life gets messy. In a culture of talking stages and situationships, she is something else. She's not a phase. She's not a fling. She's the kind of person who will still care long after the conversation fades. As philosopher Alain de Botton once wrote, "Love is admiration for qualities in another person that may never fully reveal themselves all at once." And that's how she loves, not just for the moment, but for the unfolding. For who you are when you're unfiltered, unguarded, unseen by the world. But this is also why she stays quiet at first, because slow love can be mistaken for no love in a world that only hears what's loud. So, if she's still in your life, even if she doesn't say it first, know this: her love may not spark like lightning, but it burns like a hearth, and it never leaves you cold. Number 7. She's not waiting for a grand gesture, just to be chosen, quietly, consistently. She doesn't need a bouquet of roses at her door. She doesn't need a fireworks proposal, a viral love story, or handwritten letters sealed in gold. What she needs is to be chosen. Not loudly, but consistently. Because for her, love doesn't live in dramatic moments. It lives in the in-between. The small texts that say, "Did you eat today?" The warm silence where she can be herself without performing. The effort that says, "I noticed," without her needing to ask. You see, she's not holding back because she wants to be chased. She's holding back because she wants to be safe. And safety, for her, looks like presence. It looks like someone who stays, not just when it's easy, not just when she's glowing and golden, but when she's quiet, moody, guarded, when the world is too much and she disappears into herself. She needs someone who won't take her silence personally. Someone who doesn't need the constant reassurance of "I love you" to believe it's still there. Someone who sees that her stillness is not distance, it's depth. She spent years being the second choice, the almost, the maybe, the backup plan. So now she's not asking to be someone's obsession, just their intention. She wants a love that doesn't shout from rooftops, but remembers to check in. A love that notices when her voice softens or her typing stops. A love that isn't scared by the quiet, but leans into it. Because love, to her, is not proven in how loudly someone says, "I want you." It's in how often they say, "I'm here." And even though she may not say it first, even though her lips stay silent, her heart is always asking one thing: will you choose me, even when I'm not asking you to? She doesn't need to be chased. She just wants to be seen. And not for her beauty or her talent or her charm, but for the quiet, trembling way she loves without saying a word. So, if you're lucky enough to feel her energy, to be noticed, remembered, silently protected, don't wait for her to go first. Be the safe space. Be the steady hand. Be the quiet voice that says, "You don't have to speak, I already know." Because she will never beg to be loved. But if you choose her, really choose her, she will give you a kind of love the world has forgotten, not loud, not flashy, but eternal. Conclusion. So now you've seen her, maybe for the first time, really seen her. The girl who feels everything like a storm behind her smile. She's not cold. She's not distant. She's just careful and real. She doesn't say, "I love you" first, not because she doesn't feel it, but because she wants to know her love will be held, not dropped. She doesn't chase, beg, or perform, because her heart has already performed too many times for the wrong audience. Her love is sacred, slow, honest, and once she feels safe, it will wrap around you like home. Every silence she offers carries a story. Every unsent text hides a truth. Every moment of stillness is a quiet prayer that someone, maybe you, will see her depth, not mistake it for distance. And if you're that someone, remember this. Don't wait for her to say it first. Show her she doesn't have to, because once she knows it's safe to speak, her love will not just touch your life, it will change it. If this felt like someone you know, or maybe even someone you are, then this message was for you. Let's keep holding space for the quiet ones. Let's make room for slow love in a fast world. Let's remind each other, silence doesn't mean the heart is silent. If this touched you in any way, please share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to the channel for more soul-deep content like this. Let's build a place where love is patient, words are gentle, and feelings, even unspoken, are always heard. Until next time, stay soft, stay real, and remember, she feels it deeply, even if she never says it first.